This day I'm making a proclamation of whom I'm going to serve. And I love after he called them out and told them, it was a commandment. You need to choose today a divine decision. You need to make a divine decision so that you can voice your choice. You either choose to serve the Lord, or you can choose to serve the gods of this world that your fathers served and the ones before him in the flood. Just like Brother Charlie preached this morning. They were living it up. They were going everywhere they could. They were spending time. They were fellowshipping. The world was in fellowship, even as they are today. And they were in agreement that it was time to live it up. There's so many times I see tragedies and tragedies, social media. The next thing I see, oh, life is so short, you better live it up. See, the problem is with the majority of these tragedies is because they were living it up. And swift destruction came upon them because they were living riotously. Decisions you make could either prolong your life or end it prematurely. How you say, well, God's in control of that. See, God has a plan for everybody. But don't intervene in God's plan. There's things you can do to yourself to hinder the ministry, to hinder your life, to hinder what God has for you. First commandment with promise, God told the children to honor thy mother and father, and even so shall thy days be long upon the earth. Honor your mother and father. My mom and dad taught me to do well, to treat others well. They took me to church, taught me that Jesus Christ was the way to heaven. My grandparents done the same thing, and I thank God that I'm still here in this hour. I thank him because it's God's hand that I'm still here in this hour, and I dwell in the land of the living. To live as Christ, but to die as gain. But he called the congregation, and he told him all these things that God had done for him. Don't forget, he said. See, sometimes we need reminded of what God's done for us. See, these were God's children. You say, well, I'm saved. I don't know why you're preaching this to me. See, you ain't understanding. These were the 12 tribes. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Israel. These were his children. This was the promise. These were the 12 tribes. God's promise. God's children. God's people. This was Israel. But see, there's oftentimes we need reminded, lest we make bad decisions, sometimes reminded where God has brought us from. Remind us what all things God's brought us through. Not only has he brought us from a world of sin and a life of sorrow without hope, without happiness, without joy, but imparted happiness and joy in our life through Jesus Christ. Sometimes we need to be reminded of these things. You say, I don't serve other gods. See, it's so easy. The first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And I believe that is one of the greatest commandments that we break. I believe that's the number one commandment that people break. Choose this day whom you will serve. On my way here, I was noticing people, man, they were buzzing everywhere. I seen construction workers. I seen elderly. I seen the young. I seen women with their children in the back of their vans, and people was going out to eat, and they were just busy, just going everywhere, and their time was so consumed. And I thought, boy, the devil sure is keeping everybody busy, keeping their mind off eternity. See, the one thing the devil does not want you to come to the realization of is that you're going to die. And that you're going to have to give up the ghost one of these days. And you're going to have to step out into eternity. And as soon as you, see, it's not the funeral. You will not be present at your funeral, just so you know. See, I thought of that as I went to a funeral of a friend that had passed away from a car wreck. And I walked by his casket. And I thought, you know, he's not present. Come to visit an empty house. He isn't present, but there is a place in this hour that he is present. Now, like I told them Wednesday night, there's never been a preacher that's been called to preach anybody into heaven or to preach anybody into hell. That's between man and God. All our job is to preach the everlasting gospel, the gospel of peace, the gospel that leads men and women and children to the cross of Jesus Christ. That's all we're called to do. That's it. And I thank God for that. I wouldn't want that job. Because I thought, what if it was given unto man to say, he didn't make it? He didn't. See, I don't know that. I don't know what his last hours or his last seconds or minutes were in eternity. I don't know what the subconscious thinks when they don't speak laying in a hospital bed. I don't know these things. But I know our God is a forgiving God. But right now, every one of you are vertical. At least I hope so. And God granted you the ability to walk in here on your own 2 feet. Church, choose this day whom you're going to serve. This day. You guys go ahead and lay it down. And I thought, I'm going to have these young men help me. But I thought, as he called the congregation and he commanded them, he said, choose this day whom you will serve. Are you going to serve the gods of your fathers? And I was thinking the gods of the fathers. Are you serving riotous living? Are you serving other people? Are you serving your job? Are you serving your education? Are you serving denomination? Are you serving a name? Or are you serving the true and the living God? Choose this day who you're going to serve. See, indecision is a decision. A choice not to do it is a choice. We've been in a discipleship class. It's something God has showed me. God told me that I was being very lazy in his ministry. That was how God revealed it to me. And he said people are suffering because of it. Love how God speaks to the heart. He said, don't be weary in well-doing. There's a line you're going to have to cross. If you chose to follow me, you better be prepared to pay the price to follow me. Lest you build and you can't finish. But I thought, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So therefore, I had to put my trust in the Son of God. And said, Lord, without you, I can't finish building. But Lord, with you, I can do anything. I can reach any height in you. I can overcome any mountain. I can overcome any valley. I can cross any stream. And that includes Jordan at the end of my life. Without you, I can't make it up the mountain, let alone cross it. Without you, I won't even enter the valley because I'm scared to. Without you, I won't enter into a wilderness because I have fear without you. He said, you choose this day whom you'll serve. And when you do choose a brother,